Hey y'all, and welcome to the video. We got another annual review video for you this year, and it's now 8 years in the books with my Dodge Ram 2500. This video will cover everything that's happened within the past year, how this truck has been, and what kind of shape it's in. So let's get into it. Year 8 was another easy year for this truck. Did not drive nearly as much as past years though. Last year I went back, looked at the video. It looks like we did about 10,000 miles this year, which is down from around 30K the previous year. And our total mileage on the truck is 415,205. So that's just a hair under 10K miles for the last year. This is a quad cab short bed auto 5.9 Cummins 4-wheel drive Laramie Sport package. No maintenance, well, yeah, no repairs, I should say, from the previous year. Maintenance, yes, we changed the oil in the engine a couple times. We changed the oil in the trans, changed the oil in front and rear diffs, changed the fuel filter. That's all I had in my maintenance log from the past year. With the addition of a new breather tube on the rear diff. The old breather tube just got really dry and cracked, and you can see the new one there. I've got it tied up with a zip tie and a little band clamp down there. That was a big fix because I was getting water in my diff and I didn't know why. You know, the first time around it's because the truck sat in some water and the diff got submerged, but the second time around was likely because of rainwater getting in there, and I saw that the old breather tube had fallen off the truck, so I swapped that out, and that was no big deal. Now, when was the last time I did actually repair anything on this truck? So it's got 415,000 miles. The last time was right about 20,000 miles ago with a starter motor. How about the time before that? Well, that was the radiator 70,000 miles ago. Besides those two things, in the last 70K, all I've done is oil changes, basically, which is pretty awesome. The truck has actually been pretty reliable despite the amount of miles on it, despite its age. So I don't have anything to complain about. No blow-by on the engine. Blow-by is really just your typical haze at idle with no pressure. And let's take a look at some of the what kind of shape things are in on the truck, because after 19 years some things are showing their age. My front end is good. It's been rebuilt twice since I've had the truck, and just as a background, I bought this truck with 170K miles back in 2014, and since then I've rebuilt the front end twice. Besides the lower ball joints, they've only been replaced once, and the steering linkage has only been replaced once. But the steering is tight, the suspension is good, the truck rides great. It actually steers and suspension-wise rides better than my 6.7 does. So I'm very happy with how that performs. But some things, like I was just saying, are showing their age, like the paint. So this is actually the good side of the truck. And last year I talked about this a little bit on the truck. We have some clear coat damage, and sorry if it's extremely bright, because it is extremely bright outside today and I'm trying to get the roof here. Clear coat damage on the roof for sure. This side of the truck paint is actually half decent. There's some dings and dents and throughout the truck, as you would expect with its age and mileage, but this side is definitely the nicer looking side. So here's a look at the worst side, and it's not in the sun. I should have parked with this side in the sun so you could see cracked paint. That's some damage. Actually got hit and run there, and I tried to fix it myself, and I should not have. But the damage scraped it down to bare metal, so I felt like I had to paint it. Rust. This truck was a Northern truck, Delaware truck, and I also spent a couple years in Pennsylvania with it and drove in the snow and salt, and there is a rust hole the size of about, it's wider than 4 fingers, so there's a pretty big rust hole under those fender flares. So that needs to be repaired, and the paint is chipping off and bubbling there, and it's actually showing beyond the fender flare now, so that's not good. But that's what happens. I'll talk a little bit more about that when I talk about my future plans for the truck. Cracks, more cracks in the paint. There was a spot I was looking for that cracking was looking like really bad this year, and I think it was here on the door. I don't know how easy that is to see, but here on the door, just these long cracks. They almost look like scratches now, but I think it's just because the paint is old, or it's sat in the sun or something like that. But besides the rust here, I think there's some rust on the cab underneath of this door, but not visible yet. So I don't see anything here, but if I was to reach my hand somewhere on the opposite side here, I think I can feel it. That looks like a piece of rust possibly. Yes, there is a little bit of a rusty spot on the cab here, which sucks, but that's the only other rust spot besides the two rear fenders. The other fender has rust, but it's not visible on the other side of the flare. The frame, which you can see here, for a truck that spent some time up north, looks really good. The frame is definitely nowhere close to having any rust issues, so I'm very happy with the frame. What else do we got? Interior's pretty, it's a bit rough. This, we saw in year 7 that this was getting air bubbles in it. Well, now it's cracking. So, you know, it's just from me putting my arm there, and I do that a lot. Same with up here. This has air bubbles in it. Now, the dash is shot. The sun has damaged it. I don't think this truck came with a UV repelling windshield, and that probably did some damage. And then just the fact that the plastic material itself is just not good. It's naturally quite brittle. So it's broken off, but I don't think this is much worse than y'all saw last year. This center console thing is really holding up well, though. This hasn't been replaced, and there's not a big hole here like you see on a lot of trucks. This is also a Laramie truck with the leather seats, and this is the original seat. While the cushion is pretty squished and it's really squishy, it's probably should be replaced soon, but I'm not feeling any metal or anything in there. And for 400K miles, this is in good shape. This side of the seat's what's most impressive, just this kind of cracking here, but that has been on the truck since I got it. So no tears in the seat, which is really good to see, especially with 400K miles, because I've seen trucks with 200 and some K with tears in the seat from people sliding in and out. Needs a new pillar. Pillar got ripped off, but that was a couple years ago, and I've just lived without it. I just grab right here. It's probably better to do that anyways, but I do actually want to get a new pillar this year. I really should. Radio still works. AC does not work, but that's nothing new. What else? Heated seats still work. 4-wheel drive works. It's in 4 high right now. Blend doors has some blend door issues, especially on the driver's side. The passenger side is perfect, no blend door problems there. Driver's side has issues of getting the heat turned off. Actually, it's usually getting the heat turned on. In the wintertime, it'll blow cold. You mess with the switch over there, eventually it kicks on your heat. And then I don't get any hot air through the floor. It's like it's blocked off and only blows cold air in the wintertime. So if it is cold, which isn't really a problem here on the Gulf Coast where I'm currently sweating bullets on this 95-degree day. But in the wintertime, if you were driving in a cold area, your feet can get a little numb. Let's see what else. Back. Nothing to report here. Headliner's in a little rough shape, has an air bubble starting there. It's real dirty there. That's because I used to drive with that back window open all the time. That really needs cleaned. I don't even notice how bad that was until now. the bed, original bed liner on the truck still. I've got a fifth wheel gooseneck setup back here that is very good. Not really anything remarkable about the bed. Everything works here. This works. The inside the bed switch for your gooseneck trailer plug hookup. Look under the hood, of course. That's like the highlight, is getting to look under the hood. Now, if y'all want to see this engine and its oil situation, does it leak oil? Is it real wet under the hood? The answer is no. And check out my summer oil change vlog video that I put out recently, and you'll see me basically give you a tour underneath of the truck, and you'll see how just nice this engine is as far as not leaking oil everywhere. And that's pretty impressive considering age and mileage and how, you know, all these seals, they're still OEM. And this engine is stock, so this thing has a ton of stock stuff. Stock engine, never been opened up. Maybe it had injectors replaced in its past life. I would think that it did, because 5.9 injectors aren't really known to go 400 plus K. They're more of a 250, 300 K injector before they need swapped out. And it's just amazing to me that the truck still fires up, no problem. It's not like I have any symptoms of high return or injectors getting tired. Truck starts up great. What else do we have here? Things look great under the hood. There was no work done under here last year. Turbo. That's another thing that is still OEM. And I actually like that turbo. It's a little turbo compared to the one on my 6.7. And but I like the way it sounds, and 400 some K on it, never needed replaced. Now, the most impressive thing, and something that a lot of people probably won't believe, is the trans is still original. An automatic Chrysler trans on top of that. 400 some K miles. Now, I do have a maintenance record, a dealership record, that says the valve body got replaced at 30,000 miles. So that was very early in its life. So the valve body's got 385 K on it. The rest of the trans has 415 K. And the reason why I think the trans never got any work done to it in its previous life is that it was a little bit finicky when I bought the truck. If I was to give it full throttle, it would have some slippage. Basically, it would act like it's going into neutral, or maybe it shifted all the way down to first gear and is really screaming. That's what it does, but you have to actually floor it to do that. I can bring the RPMs up to about 2,500 before I get that slippage. So for my driving, it basically drives like a perfectly normal trans, and has for the last 8 years. I haven't done any work to the trans besides oil changes. So that is, I think, going to be a wrap for this year's video. I don't think I have any further comments. It's just been very reliable, great truck. This is still kind of my daily driver. It's still got the majority of the miles over the last 12 months compared to my 6.7, although it's getting a lot closer. It's almost a 50-50 split now. So I'm gonna fire the truck up so you can hear the engine, and do a little walk around while it's running, and then we'll do a little driving clip on our way out of here, just so y'all can see it drive and shift and all of that. I almost forgot the future plans section of the video. So what do I want to do with this truck in the future? I really want to get this truck back into the shape that it was in when I bought it 8 years ago. I've been watching the truck markets, and it's crazy. I bought this truck 8 years ago, so it was 11 years old at the time, with 170K. I saw an 03 truck like this one, except it wasn't even the Laramie. It had the cloth seats, and it had similar miles, and it was also an 03. It had 171K, and mine had 170 when I bought it. Basically the same miles, 5.9. And they were asking almost 30 grand for the truck, and I'm like, I paid half price 8 years ago. These prices are outrageous. So I really want to hang on to this thing and the truck has a lot of sentimental value, so I really want to fix it up and make it nice again. So that would involve fixing all of the rust, that rust spot on the cab, the 2 rust spots on the bed, repainting the whole truck, you know, fixing that amateur paint job thing back there and just repainting the whole thing. No more cracked paint. A fresh coat of paint would be awesome. The truck still looks pretty decent from a distance, but up close, you know, the paint, you can tell it's 19 years old. And fixing the AC. The AC needs overhauled, probably everything. Compressor, the evaporator, condenser, whatever. All of the tubing, that all needs to go. It's old and it hasn't worked since 2015. But I'd love to get that fixed. What else? Bigger tires. So I love these Toyo CT tires. They've been possibly the best set of tires I've ever owned, but not 35s. I want to go with 35s. These are 33s. I want something bigger, but my only other choice on this tire is to get a 35. So I'm thinking I either go to a 295/70 R17 to match my 6.7, so I have universal tire size between the 2 trucks, or I go to something like a 305/70, which I think may have a better chance to avoid rubbing. With these minus offset wheels, 35s would rub right here, and I did not like that. And with stock tires, stock wheels, I mean, they would probably rub on the control arm somewhere at full lock. So I need to go with something a bit smaller than a 35, but bigger than a 33. This truck, I want it to be more of my off-road truck, my outdoor recreation truck, you know, the truck you take camping and fishing and things like that. The one you drive on the sand at the beach, stuff like that. That's kind of what I want the future of this truck to be. My 09, that one can be my tow rig, more of my daily driver, my more comfortable truck, quieter truck. So that's kind of the overall plan for the future. I'm hoping, you know, within the next couple years, I can get moving on some of those projects. Oh, and of course, a whole new transmission, built mildly, something that can hold 400 horse, like a towing trans. So I know that I have a solid transmission that can handle beyond what the truck's actually going to be doing. It's going to be, I want it to be a little bit overbuilt. And then after that, maybe some tuning. A 50 horse tune would be good, because this is a 250 horse standard output. I'd like to bring it up to the 300 horse high output. That would be nice. So, you know, something to wake it up a little bit, make it a little bit quicker without adding crazy power. And replace injectors before they force me to replace them. That would be the next thing on the list. So let's get into the driving clip of the video. I hope you all enjoyed this one. Straight pipe MBRP. You know, I actually think I replaced that race pipe section. Or not race pipe, I'm sorry, muffler delete pipe section. That shiny piece right there. I think I did that within the past year, because the old section rusted out. Here's our engine, AFE cold air intake. Show you a quick blow by. Wow, that's hot. Not seeing much there. Really almost nothing there. That cap is hot. It's been sitting in the sun and the engine's warm. Woo! All right, let's go for a little cruise. exhaust sounds good, it's fun, but it's a bit loud. I'm sure my whole neighborhood, they know me. Because it rumbles. Actually had a little wildfire over this side of the street about a month or two ago. Came down here and I'm like, what happened here? Trans still shifts great under light to moderate load. Anything besides flooring it shifts fantastic. All right, I gotta hop out here and going to cut off the video here. See y'all next year.